Hey everyone, Danny Hauger here. Hope you're doing really well. I have an exclusive interview with the OneUps. They're the OneUps band on Twitter and the OneUps.com. The best video game music band performers in all the world, in my opinion, which is humble and sometimes not, but I love it. Everything from their Toe Jam and Earl themes to their Zelda Bossa Nova track to their B-sides and to their new album that's in development. It all has me very excited because I love the music of video games. And in this interview, we talk about their favorite genres, stories, and I've got 4 of the guys here to talk with me. They've never done an interview like this. I love it, and I want you to support their music and my music with the new album Spring to Life coming soon. But right now, it's time to talk video game music. Here they are, the OneUps, live with Danny Hauger.
Oh, welcome into a weekday edition of Danny Hauger Podcast. The school day is closed, and everyone is looking for their weekend activities, which while we're in quarantine, look a lot like their weekday activities, is what I've been finding out. And I'm here to get a little escape, and what better escape than to a video game world, and one where professional music and video game covers are done to a specialization with jazz and funk and all kinds of genres. The OneUps join me right here, and Mustin, I'm going to say hello to you first. How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Oh, so great, man. I'm so glad that you guys could take a few minutes to talk with me, and I got the whole group here. Jared, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Tim, what's going on with you?
Not much. Everything's good.
I realize that this closed-ended question is a wonderful start when you ask it 5 times sequentially. And William, I don't want to leave you out, so how's your day going?
It's going pretty well, thanks.
All right, Mustin, we got in touch because I found your music and people were talking about how much they loved it. I was really surprised it hadn't come to me before. Can you tell me who came up with the inception of the group and when did it turn from single player to co-op? How did you guys all meet? Tell us about it, William.
It was a combo platter. It was really just, I think Mustin had this idea of having a video game band. Mm-hmm. And my first memory of it, which may be conflicting with other sources, but was my friend Nathan, our friend Nathan McLeod, and I were in the music building of the university where we attended. And Mustin comes in one of the rooms and he tells us about this idea, and we're all kind of on board because we're all excited about it. And I remember saying to him, "Oh yeah, I really like Super Mario Kart music. That Koopa Beach song sounds like a bossa nova." And I was studying guitar and I like Brazilian music. And he was like, "Yeah, I like that. Plus I have all these other ones that he likes." And then we started, I think, jamming a little bit that day. And that's as much as I remember. From then on, he sort of organized stuff with Dale, North, and some other people, and we started meeting and having regular rehearsals, and he came up with certain arrangements, and we started playing them, and then he got us to the first MagFest and all kinds of stuff.
That's rad. Was it specifically Nintendo 64 and Super Mario Kart that was the first couple of songs that infused the jam to begin? Was that the impetus for it?
Oh, we just loved video game music in general, but I think all of us grew up playing NES and SNES and then N64 and then getting into PlayStation. And Jared had the 3DO, which was cool.
Yeah. That's a fun time playing Gex.
If you like loading all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the anticipation that really makes a game exciting. It's that
right.
Will it be worth the payoff after all this?
Yeah.
How did you all attend the same university?
Me, William did, yeah.
And Tim as well.
Tim, yeah.
Tim was a little later. I only showed up as just a spectator. I didn't go to any classes, so.
Well, that's sounds like a fun thing to do too, just to hang out with the group and get all the upside.
Yeah.
When did you turn it from a hobby into something that you've have a collection now of some of the most famous works and everyone's favorite songs? What was it that propelled it from more than just an interest in like the jam sessions? Who was it that motivated it to continue and grow?
In the end, it definitely was a combined effort.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much actually even our first drummer, in a way, put forth a lot of effort because we always rehearsed at his house. So he was providing the place. Go ahead.
Yeah, his name is Chris Strom, and he was the drummer before. Hey, look, there's Tim. Hey,
hey, Tim.
Hey.
We've had a lot of lineup changes,
mm-hmm.
so you can find videos with as many as like 12 people on stage, and then there's also just solo pieces that both William and Jared have done. I mean, William and Tim have done on guitars separately. So it just kind of runs a gamut of size. So a lot of different people, a lot of different arrangements of stuff. And Chris was there in the beginning, and he was very enthusiastic. He was much older than us, which was interesting because we were all in our early 20s, and he was just turned 50. So that was fun. And then we also had at the beginning David Embry, who was a trumpet player, and then Nathan, who William mentioned was the resident saxophonist. And then those folks kind of moved on, and that's where the next wave came in, where Jared came in to be the drummer, and Tim came in to be an extra guitar player. And then we've also brought in around the same time a violin player. And then was it you, William, who said that there's this saxophone player down at the university playing?
Yes.
Video games?
Yes. There was a sax because our saxophone player was on a cruise, I think, at that time. Was he?
Yeah, Nathan.
Right. So, there was a jazz concert that happened, and there was a dude who played the sax, and he stood up, and during his solo, he played some Mario licks.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, dang, and he was really great. And so I told Mustin, I was like, hey, Mustin, go check this guy out. Mustin put a suit on, went down there, gave him his card. He's like, you're in our band now. And he was.
That's so cool.
And that's Anthony Lofton, who played on a lot of stuff. Also a great keyboard player. So that ended up being the 6 people, 4 of us plus Greg and Anthony, that ended up finally putting together a work, which was our first album, Volume 1, in 2005.
Yeah, it's amazing to see going through more than 4 volumes now. Is there someone in the group, or is it a group decision on when to move to a new game or do a new song? Because it looks like, and if you could also tell me how much time on average do you think goes into one of these compositions? Because they're very artfully arranged, like they're very thorough and in-depth. It seems like you guys made a point to say, let's not just make the music, but let's make the music really, really good. So who makes those calls? And then how do you begin the organization with so many talented musicians in your group? Who's like the impetus and the driver? If there is
really, it depends on the song, really. I mean, it's different every time. Like some songs happen real fast, some take a long time. And then sometimes we just choose. You pick so many songs and you bring it to the table, and then we just all put our ideas together with that. So.
And are you still close together geographically?
Yes.
That helps. I'd imagine.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I wanted to say something though, just real quick. I think one of the reasons that we've stayed like together so long and like have done a lot of these projects is that I hope I'm speaking correctly, but we try to keep it as like a pretty fair brotherhood to where like, if someone really wants to do a song, or someone has a group of songs that they want to do a certain game, when we put it on the table and we all kind of decide together.
Cool.
It's not there's not like a dictator thing happening here. So
yeah, it's like, great.
That's why, even though like your question, a lot of times maybe there is that in a band, but I think with us, it really comes down to let's all work together. Let's all be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So.
How much does that have to do with it being video game music, which is about fun and spending time together and enjoying the process? Do you think that has something to play into how you guys get along?
I don't think so necessarily. I mean, I knew Mustin for a long time. I know William's cousin from high school. There was a lot of connections beforehand.
Cool.
So now video games is another connection we have together. But as far as making the songs and stuff, I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I don't know if have we ever even played a game all together?
That's funny.
Surely, yeah.
Drinking games. We used to play a lot of drinking games.
Yeah, no one can beat us. No one can beat us. But
that's true. We're undefeated.
NBA Jam, maybe or Hang Time. Maybe Hang Time.
Oh yeah,
I love those games so much. I have an interview with Tim Kitzrow, the voice of NBA Jam. That's still iconic.
Really nice.
I think about that all the time.
Jared scored maybe a hang time arcade machine that we had in our garage.
Yes.
Oh, dude. I
Yeah.
joined a band just for that.
That might be the only thing that we played together ever, all at the same time.
Oh, that's pretty funny, though.
We never did like a Ninja Turtles or Simpsons or Avengers type arcade together ever.
I don't think so.
What about Street Fighter? There was some Street Fighter stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
never played it.
true.
I watched.
But it's still back and forth, though. Huh.
Yeah, Mario Kart. William and I.
Maybe we did a Mario Kart,
sounds
all
good.
4 of us.
I would watch. I would always watch.
Oh, well, no.
Let's say, let's go in this direction then. I mean, I loved the depth of the thought that went into that.
We're trying here.
Yeah, no, I see it.
We're thinking.
With over 8 studio albums to date now, guys, if you haven't heard the OneUps music, you got to check all this stuff out. There's some amazing stuff. I love the compilation myself. With so many channels now, with Spotify, iTunes, and so many ways to find music, what's your A and your B? Like if you thought when you go on to promote something, what do you want people to find you, or does it matter to you? If that's a question that makes sense. Where do you find the top 2 sources are for your listeners finding you?
I think it matters, but I think a lot of people hear us on Spotify, and we have a respectable listenership on Pandora. People listen to us on Apple. I mean, it's just kind of everything. When I see people pass around YouTube followed by Spotify, or maybe they're neck and neck as far as what people are tweeting or Facebooking.
Yeah, that's where I'm seeing it, and that's where I actually found you too. Let me ask you, each of you, we'll take a second here and start with Tim maybe. What is a piece that you're the most proud of, or that you enjoy playing the most or performing the most?
The question.
Everyone else be ready. This is my teacher mode. You don't be surprised if the same question comes to you in a second.
So we did an arrangement of this Pokemon song on an album we did called Songs for the Recently Deceased. Mm-hmm. And that one was really fun because the first time we ever played it together was about 99% of what the song ended up being. So it was basically done right from its inception. And we recorded it on my iPhone because we typically record our practice sessions and song ideas so we can revisit it later just because we all have terrible memory. So the version on the iPhone was, to me, almost good enough just to print, but we needed to work out some kinks, and there were some audio issues and some clipping. But I was just really happy with that arrangement and how it came out. And it happened so quickly. And then as far as something on the most recent album, I really enjoyed doing Guitar Man, even though it was just me and Jared, because it was kind of last minute, and I didn't think we were able to fit it on the album.
Yeah.
But it came together really nice, and that's a tune that we've played as a band forever, but we never recorded. And it's not as well known, so there's not as much criticism towards it if it doesn't end up being the way somebody wants it, because most people haven't played that game even though they should. So that was another really fun one.
Cool. William,
I was going to say, one really cool thing about the Guitar Man thing is that it was by request from someone who flew us out to play at their wedding, and it was their first dance. So I'm pretty sure that we're still the video game band that has played the most weddings. That's including a pirate-themed wedding, which was a lot of fun.
I would have loved to call you guys for that. And if you're interested in booking them, go to the oneups.com, go to the contact page. That's a wonderful thing. People, that would be so meaningful. It would make it such a special day for people that are really enthusiastic. That's pretty cool. William,
I hope they stay together.
Well, yeah.
Then it's like, don't call the OneUps because they played at my wedding and we're not together no more.
Oh man,
the curse of the OneUps. I'm just kidding.
I officiated a few weddings, and one of them had Subway cater, and I'm like,
nice.
Whoa,
classy.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's classy. The other one, the first one I did, I had 2 pages inside a binder, and my introduction was on the first page, and they stuck together. And when I turned, I went to the last page, and suddenly we were blessing the wings, and I was like, this is not going well. I don't think I'm gonna do these again. But William, a song for you that you're really proud of?
That's a hard question because we got a bunch
stuff in there. They're
and
good.
I like a lot of them, and a lot of them that I like. Some of my favorite ones to play are not necessarily the ones that I even helped arrange, because they're just like, oh, this is a fun one to play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But if I had to narrow it down to one that I'm proud of, I'd have to come up with 10. No, there's one. I think Bossa de Link. I gotta say that
That's
one
my
because cool. Because I remember when I arranged it on my bed, I was like, "Oh, I want to go arrange this," and I put my glasses on, my pencils, and my paper, and I was like, because I was really into Brazilian music at that time, and I was into. I was getting my classical guitar degree, and sorry, my
I hear him. Yeah.
that's on the podcast forever. Telling his daughter to go to the bathroom, wash her hands.
It's important. These are the
More
life
important than
lessons
this.
that you learn from this podcast. You know?
Yes, more important than Bossa de Link. But anyway, I remember putting this stuff into it. I remember like trying to make this thing, and I was younger. I was young. Forgot how old I was. 21, 22, 22, 23, and now I'm like almost 40, depressed and everything. But back then I wasn't. And I was like, Bossa de Link, let's do it. I was so proud. And I think that a lot of people have even covered that version or done something similar, and that helps me like feel good. One of my favorite memories too was recently VGM Con. Was it last year?
Yep.
Whenever they were playing these arrangements, they have all these wonderful arrangements by different people, and this group of people just started playing that arrangement. I was drunk, so I just played the shaker. But it was cool because I was like, hey, they're playing my arrangement of this song from like 15 years ago or 17 years ago. And it made me proud.
No, that's really cool. It feels like a legacy moment or a nice
very
pedestal
touching.
moment. Yeah, that's great. Mustin, how about you, man?
Well, I'm really happy. Like last week, finally, the 9th album, which is a collection called B-Sides that has tracks that never made it to an album that we gave out for free, or it also has tracks that were put on different albums that are out of print. Put it all together in one album, and I sat there and I wept for there were no more worlds to conquer, except I remembered we could not put one of our most famous arrangements, which is pre-2005, our first album. It was an arrangement we did for Christmas 2002 called Super Mario Sleigh Ride. Mm-hmm. And it's a track that Dale North, who is a video game composer now and used to be editor-in-chief of Destructoid, he was in the band for a while. He and I arranged this track, and we put it out, and it's just a Christmas mashup of Mario and Sleigh Ride and some other stuff. And I gave it to the licensing company. I said, hey, any chance on this one? And they all laughed at me and said, there's no chance in hell that we could license this. But it's a great track. Keep doing it for free. So it's just out there in the world. And that one's really cool. And so many people have played that. And like William said, every year there's requests around Christmas time and November and stuff. People saying, hey, I'd love to play this at our recital. And
full bands too. Huge. Like high school bands, like they want the full arrangement. And
super cool.
Jazz bands, big bands, it's really cool. So that's really neat. And then also I was going to say another track that we recorded, but then I remembered that there is one more thing that we did that we haven't put down on the CD yet, on a real recording, is that in 2004, when we thought, or like 2004 or 5 or something, we thought we were just done as a band. We did one last show, actually. And at that show, I did something that I'd always wanted to do, which was Dancing Mad, the last battle of Final Fantasy VI. We did that as a like 12-piece thing with live strings, and Jared was playing the tubular bells. And I mean, it was wild with girls singing, and it was really, really cool. And I watched it again a few days ago, and I said, man, this is a bummer that we don't have these other things. We have a lot of other stuff that we've done, like Tim was saying, on a phone sitting somewhere, that we've done, like, music from Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, stuff that we have never put down onto a recording. And I really am glad that we did that, and I hope that we can do, even more stuff like that.
Very, very, very cool. And Jared, how about you?
One of my favorite tracks is the one that Tim, was it just you, Tim, on the first album, Super Mario Sunshine? Was that all you, or is that you and William?
I'm playing the bass.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's not just me playing, but I think William and I probably worked out most of it.
Tim arranged that one, and I figured out the chords. I backed him up, but that was mostly his stuff.
Yeah.
But I played
yeah.
on it, and then so did was it
Greg
just
did,
Mustin?
Greg
and
did
I played
also.
melodica as well.
Right. Yeah. That's one of my favorite tracks, and I don't even play on it. So.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever arranged for the band.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what was the other part of that question? The favorite off the new album?
Sure. Let's go with that. What is your favorite off the new album?
I really like our Battletoads track.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it rocks. That's pretty sweet. Tell you what, since we're getting there on time, let me again promote the OneUps.com and find their music on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. And I'm going to go to each of you for a quick lightning round question, and I'll get out of your hair and you guys, because we all have stuff to do. I'm so grateful that we'd have this time together. I'm going to start with you, Jared. We'll go back the other way, serpentine style, since you went with the Battletoads there. And I know they're not serpents, so I don't want to get any notes or comments about that. Actually, what is the best battle theme, Jared? Either one that you do or just one that you like from video games.
I have to go with the Final Fantasy one on that one.
Pretty
Classic.
Strong, pretty classic. Good. All right, I'll respect that. Is there a best romantic theme, Mustin, or something that's kind of sweet or serene from your collection that you really enjoy playing? Maybe a ballad.
Romantic. I would say our 8th album called Volume 4. Our friend Kunal arranged this track. Kunal Majmudar arranged this version of Dalsim from Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
And it's sexy as hell. It's pretty romantic. So y'all should check that out for sure. It's called, what's it called? Anybody remember?
You don't just want people searching sexy Dalsim online. Just to see what
It's not called Dalsim.
There's be a lot of stretching that would probably be very bizarre. Search results,
It's not a Kama Sutra thing.
That's it. Kama Sutra. It's called Kama Sutra.
I was afraid to say that because.
No, you were right. Nailed it.
Gambled and you won, William. Good job. William, what's your favorite RPG?
Oh.
You got a zing in, so I had to get you on a tough one.
It's not a one, but I think the Zelda games.
Okay.
I think they're the best.
All right. I'm saving Breath of the Wild for another quarantine, which is maybe this summer. Who knows?
The whole Zelda world is just they dominate.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Tim, are you in the modern era? Are you Sony or are you Microsoft, or does it matter?
I have a PlayStation 4. I do not have an Xbox anything since the 360, but I do play a lot of PC games, which sort of still makes me a Windows guy, or a Microsoft guy rather. So it sort of evens out, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah. I got a lot of PCs. Every time I've gotten an Xbox, I think I've regretted it and ended up back in Sony for some exclusive or something. Jared, I just had it and it slipped because I was telling a personal moment, and then I lost it's like two sides of the brain weren't working together there. Jared, do you prefer the 8-bit era, the 16-bit era, or the modern era as far as listening to like original scores?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought I liked it when I wrote it.
I grew up playing a lot of the 8-bit, 16-bit. I think 16-bit music I was starting to really get into that a lot. So I'll go with 16-bit.
Let's go around the table on that one, since it is a good and a unique personal question. Does anyone else have a thought that jumps out to them on that?
I do have to go with that 16-bit too. I mean, just today while working at my job, I listened to both the Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI original soundtracks. So
good.
I'm there.
I'm going 8-bit.
Oh,
tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache.
Because I'm old. Tell me why.
I miss my classroom. I do that all the time.
I don't know. There's just a lot of. I love the fact that there's not a lot of layers, but they can still make something sound so interesting and cool. And I love the 16-bit era music too. There's amazing music in there. But there's something weird about the 8-bit that like gets you. I don't know what it is, but it like.
I think it might be that it's the most loopable. Like those tracks, being that you can only get so much music on a game, you could hear them for hours and they're still enjoyable and you don't get tired of them. That's what I think of.
Yeah, I would say that I like arranging off of 8-bit songs because there's not a lot there, and that gives us more room to add on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it challenging. Sometimes those tracks are 10 seconds long that we've got to do something with. I mean, so it's kind of fun in that way.
Plus, we would drink and yell at each other, and William would always show me like the genius of the Castlevania soundtracks. Like, it taught me a lot about, you know, the theory of it and how these composers learned so much from predecessors, you know, from Bach and stuff. And it's pretty fascinating. You really get to hear that even more, I think, in a lot of the 8-bit stuff.
Yeah.
Solid. Tim, you have a thought on that question? Is there an era that you think shines brightest?
Yeah.
Tim. I mean, I like all the eras, but Jared makes a good point about the arrangeability. A lot of modern soundtracks are sort of mirrors of movie soundtracks. So it's like really orchestral, sort of these big landscapes that don't always translate well to having strong melodies, which is something we can arrange with. Also, stuff like Mario Kart 8. I mean, that's already like jazz arrangements of stuff that's already fantastic. In the new Final Fantasy VII remake, anytime you go to a jukebox, they've got these great arrangements, these jazz arrangements of these tunes, and there's not really anything we could do with that to improve it. So some of that 8-bit, 16-bit stuff is a lot more potential there for what we could do with it.
Sweet. All right. Well, that's a lot to think about. I'm sure people are really enjoying thinking about these questions and answers too. We can put them in the comment section if you like. Have you thought about scoring? Has anyone reached out to you about scoring their original games, their indie games, or AAA projects? Does that happen?
No,
yeah,
we would love it though.
I mean, there's been, well, there has been some stuff that has like just not worked out, or then individually, like I was asked to do a game, and Jared actually helped me do this Game Boy Advance game many years ago. William's done a lot of scoring on his own for film and a lot of original composition stuff. But as a collective, I'm not really sure how we would approach it. It would be interesting.
I would love to see that. I mean, you would think that would boost a release of a game significantly if you could find the right. That would be the challenge, I'd imagine, finding the right creator who would have the right content for you to score with all your abilities and talents. Final question. Is there a game, if they did approach you, fantasy world here, a character that you'd love to do an original level design for or level theme for? Anyone can jump in.
I would love to do anything Metroid related. Samus is a really very cool character. I would love to do any level or anything.
Awesome.
I love that whole world.
There's a lot you can work with there.
There's so much. And it's always a little dark but beautiful at the same time. It's just perfect.
Agreed. Anyone else have an idea?
Probably something for Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh, I love that
future
game
iteration of that.
so much.
Yeah.
Man, I jam on the bass to that all the time.
Yeah, I tried to get them to be open to the idea of us doing the new arrangements, and he said that he already had something in mind. And, I mean, what ended up being there, I guess, I mean, it really suits its purpose, but I really know that for a fact that we would have done something just literally out of this world.
Yeah, good pun.
For new fans, we've done Toe Jam and Earl tracks on almost every album, so we're big fans of the franchise.
They're really cool. Unrelated, but in our next interview, we talked to Dan Hess from Pilot Wings, and I just love what he does with Birdman.
Oh, man.
And that stuff is, I remember every single note, and I haven't played it for 20 years. You know, so
that's interesting.
All right, Mustin, we'll tell everyone out there where they can find your music, where they can connect with you, and if you guys want to plug individual channels, this is your time.
Yeah, we're at the OneUps.com. We're on Twitter as the OneUps Band, Facebook as /the OneUps. You can find all of our music on Spotify, Apple Music, all your favorite stores, and we're working on a 10th album, so
Fantastic.
Stay tuned.
All right. Anyone else want to plug and promote their projects they're working on? No quarters needed.
Nope.
Well, I do a ton of stuff for myself, so come me out.
All right. All right. Well, hey, I'm really grateful, and I hope that this reaches some people who didn't know about your music, because until the night I reached out to Mustin, I didn't let 10 minutes pass. I heard like 3 songs, and I'm like, I got to talk to these guys. So I'm a big fan. I can't believe I didn't know it before, but I hope more people will find you as a result of this, and that you have much success going into the B-sides and the new album coming out eventually too. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Hey, this was a blast. Time flew. I'm Danny Hauger, and don't forget, my new album, Spring to Life, is coming out June 8th on Spotify and all digital music platforms. Thank Godan Guitars for the new digs that I've been jamming on, and I'll talk to you on the next edition of Danny Hauger Podcast. Happy quarantine. Stay safe, everybody.